I drove 800 miles to attend my daughter Maria's wedding. I knocked on the door of her house at 6 in the morning, with my suitcases in hand and my heart full of emotion. When she opened the door, her first reaction wasn't to hug me. She looked at me as if I were a stranger and said, "Sorry, Mom, I didn't know you were coming." At that moment, something broke inside me. 71 years lived, 800 miles driven, and my own daughter acted as if my presence was a nuisance, but that wasn't anything compared to what came next. My son-in-law Sergio appeared behind her with that fake smile he always gave me, the one that had always given me bad vibes, and uttered the words that would change everything forever. "She thinks $63,000 guarantees your presence here." My blood didn't boil because of the amount I had given for the wedding, but because of the coldness with which he said it, as if I were an investor, not a mother. "My name is Maribel. I'm 71 years old, and for decades, I believed that being a good mother meant giving everything without expecting anything in return. Maria is my only daughter. I raised her alone after her father abandoned us when she was just 8 years old. I worked double shifts, sacrificed, sold my car, mortgaged my house, everything for her to have the best. I paid for her college education, her first apartment, her new car. When she met Sergio 3 years ago, I thought she had finally found happiness. How wrong I was. Sergio turned out to be a manipulator who slowly pushed Maria away from me. At first, it was subtle comments. "Your mom is too meddlesome. Don't you think it's time you became independent? She treats you like a child." I saw how my daughter changed, how she became colder with me, but I thought it was part of growing up, of forming her own family. When they asked me for money for the wedding, I didn't hesitate for a second. $3,000 was practically all my retirement savings, but it was for my daughter's happiness. "Mom, we want a perfect wedding," Maria said, tears in her eyes. "You've always been so generous with us. I promise we'll pay you back." Lies. All lies. The day I transferred the money, Sergio told me, "Maribel, since you're paying for the wedding, obviously, you'll be sitting in the front row." I thought it was a tasteless joke. How could I not be at my own daughter's wedding? But when I arrived that morning, after driving all night, I realized that to them, I was just a walking bank account. "I didn't know you were coming," Maria repeated, without even inviting me in. She was dressed in a pink silk robe, getting ready for the most important day of her life, and I was just an inconvenience. Sergio came closer and added, "Maribel, the ceremony is very intimate. Just close family. Close family." As if I weren't her mother, as if I hadn't been the one who comforted her when she had nightmares, the one who took care of her when she was sick, the one who worked until I bled to give her everything she needed. "But I'm your mother," I said to Maria, feeling my voice crack. "I'm your closest family." She looked away, clearly uncomfortable. "Mom, we've already got everything organized. The seats at the church, the reception, everything is planned." Planned. What a cold word to describe her wedding day. Sergio took control of the conversation, as he always did. "Look, Maribel, we appreciate your contribution, but Maria and I have decided we want a small ceremony, just for close family." Close family. I, who had given everything for that girl, wasn't considered close family. That's when something changed inside me. A coldness I had never felt before spread throughout my body. I looked at Maria, searching her eyes for some trace of the girl I had raised, but I only found indifference. I had raised a stranger. I had loved someone who saw me as an ATM. "I understand," I finally said with a calmness that even surprised me. "I understand perfectly." Sergio smiled, thinking he had won. Maria sighed in relief, believing the uncomfortable moment had passed, but they didn't know I also had secrets. Secrets that were about to change the entire game. I walked to my car with my dignity intact, but my heart in pieces. As I started the engine, I took out my phone and dialed my bank's number. "Good morning. I need to freeze a transfer I made 2 weeks ago." The voice on the other end was professional and efficient. "Of course, ma'am. What's the reason?" "Family fraud," I answered without hesitation. In 5 minutes, the $63,000 was frozen. Maria's perfect wedding had just turned into her worst nightmare. But this was just the beginning. As I drove back to the town, my phone started ringing once, twice, 3 times. I let it ring. I knew exactly who it was and why they were calling. The bank notification had reached Maria's account. Transfer frozen by the sender. I could imagine Sergio's face when he found out. I could imagine the panic in my daughter's eyes when she realized her perfect wedding was falling apart. But I wasn't going to answer. Not yet. After so many years of being the mother who was always available, who always solved problems, who always said yes, it was time for them to learn what desperation felt like. It was time for them to know what it meant to need someone and that person not being there. I stayed at the most luxurious hotel in the town, not the cheap motel I always stayed at when I visited them. This time, I wanted luxury. I wanted to feel valued, even if it was by strangers who treated me with respect in exchange for money. The receptionist smiled genuinely when I checked in. "Welcome, Mrs. Maribel. We hope you enjoy your stay." How different it was to be treated as a distinguished guest rather than a nuisance. In my room, a suite with a garden view, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat down to wait. I didn't have to wait long. My phone exploded with calls. First call, Maria. Second call, Sergio. Third call, Maria again. Fourth call, unknown number. Probably Sergio from another phone. Fifth, sixth, seventh calls. I let them all go to voicemail. Finally, I decided to listen to the messages. Maria's voice sounded desperate. "Mom, please, I need to talk to you." There was a mistake with the bank. A mistake. How convenient to call it a mistake now that she needed my money. The second message was from Sergio, and his tone was completely different. "Maribel, I don't know what game you're playing, but this is serious. We have vendors to pay, a venue reserved, guests coming from afar. Fix this immediately." Game. That word made me laugh. Because if this was a game, I had just changed the rules, and they didn't know I had all the winning cards. But what really surprised me was the third message, also from Sergio. "Listen to me, old lady. I don't know what's wrong with you, but if you don't fix this in the next 2 hours, you'll regret it. Maria is crying because of you. Is this what you want, to make your own daughter suffer?" Old lady. He had called me old, and then had the audacity to blame me for Maria's suffering. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. I grabbed my phone and dialed my lawyer's number. "Alejandro, it's Maribel. I need to see you first thing tomorrow. It's urgent." Alejandro had been my lawyer for years. Since the divorce. He knew all about my financial situation. He knew about my properties, my investments, everything Maria and Sergio didn't know. "What's going on, Maribel? You sound upset." I told him everything, every detail, every humiliation, every cruel word. When I finished, there was a long silence on the other end of the line. "Maribel," he finally said, "are you sure you want to do this? Once we start, there's no turning back." Alejandro, for 71 years, I've been too good, too understanding, too generous. I've been used, manipulated, treated like I was worth nothing. Not anymore. I want them to know exactly who they're dealing with. That night, while I had dinner alone at the hotel's elegant restaurant, my phone kept ringing. I counted the calls. 41 in total. 41 desperate calls from 2 people who had never called me just to ask how I was. For 1 calls from 2 people who only remembered me when they needed something. But the calls weren't the worst part, it was the text messages. 12 messages that went from pleading to threatening in just a few hours. Maria started with, "Mom, please call me. We can talk about this later. I don't understand why you're doing this. I thought you wanted me to be happy, and finally, if you ruin my wedding, I'll never forgive you." But it was Sergio's messages that really showed me his true face. "Maribel, this is ridiculous. Acting like a child isn't going to get you anywhere. After this, we get the message. You wanted attention, now you've got it. Now give back the money." And the last one, the one that made me laugh out loud. "You're just a bitter old woman who can't stand to see her daughter happy. You've always been a manipulator." A manipulator. I, the woman who had given everything without asking for anything in return. The woman who had worked until I was sick to pay for my daughter's whims. The woman who had kept silent when Sergio filled her head with stupid ideas about my supposed interference in their relationship. That night, I couldn't sleep, Not because of guilt or regret, but because of the adrenaline. For the first time in years, I felt powerful. I felt in control. I felt like the main character of my own life instead of being a secondary character in the lives of others. At 3 in the morning, I decided to do something I had never done: check Maria's social media. What I found broke my heart and strengthened me at the same time. Photo after photo of her, showing off her engagement ring, her ivory wedding dress, her honeymoon plans. In none of those posts did I appear. In none of her stories did she mention me. It was as if I didn't exist, but what hurt the most was a post she had made the week before. So grateful to my future husband for teaching me to be independent. I finally understand that true love is not dependence, but freedom. Thank you, Sergio, for helping me break the chains that kept me tied. Chains. I was the chains. My motherly love, my sacrifice, my dedication, all of that was chains for her. Sergio had brainwashed her so much that she no longer saw my love as love, but as manipulation. She no longer saw my generosity as generosity, but as control. It was at that moment that I made the final decision. It wasn't just about the wedding money. It wasn't just about the humiliation that morning. It was about years of being invisible, of being taken for granted, of being treated like a resource instead of a person. I pulled out my laptop and began writing emails to my contacts, researching my rights, making plans for the coming days. If Maria and Sergio wanted war, they were going to get war, but this time, I had the heavy artillery because what they didn't know was that I wasn't just a retired mother with some savings. I was a woman with properties, investments, contacts, and most importantly, with the truth on my side. For years, I had kept silent about many things. I had protected Maria from knowing certain details about her father, about our real financial situation, about the sacrifices I had made. But the silence was over. It was time for my daughter to know the whole truth. It was time for Sergio to discover who he had really gotten involved with. The dawn found me awake, dressed, and ready for battle. 41 missed calls flashed on my phone screen. 12 threatening messages waited to be answered, but I was no longer the Maribel of yesterday. I was no longer the desperate mother trying to please her daughter. I was a woman who had decided to reclaim her power. And this was just the beginning. At 7 in the morning, my phone rang again. This time I answered. It was Maria, and her voice sounded broken. "Mom, please, we need to talk. Come home." Her tone had completely changed. It was no longer the coldness from yesterday, but pure desperation. "Good morning, Maria," I responded with a calmness that even surprised me. "How did you wake up?" "Mom, don't play with me. You know exactly why I'm calling. The bank says you froze the money. Why would you do something like that?" Her voice cracked at the end of the sentence. For a moment, I almost felt pity, almost. But then I remembered her words from yesterday. "I didn't know you were coming." I remembered Sergio's look of contempt. I remembered how they had treated me like a stranger after I drove 800 miles to be at the most important day of their lives. "Maria, I think it's time for us to have a conversation that we should have had a long time ago," I said. "But it won't be at your house. If you want to talk to me, meet me at the lobby of the Continental Hotel at 10 and come alone." Alone? Why alone? Sergio is my husband. He has the right to be present at our family conversations. There it was again, Sergio controlling even the conversations between mother and daughter. "Maria, Sergio is not your husband yet. And if you want me to unlock that money, you come alone or not at all, you decide." There was a long silence. I could imagine her consulting with Sergio, asking for permission to speak with her own mother. Finally, she sighed. "Okay, I'll be there at 10. She hung up without saying goodbye. How far my little girl had come from the affectionate daughter who used to say, "I love you, Mom," before hanging up the phone. Elegais sacrificar mi posibilidad de rehacer mi vida porque tu eras más importante que cualquier cosa en el mundo. Mi voz también ese quebró. Y ahora, 43 años después, mi propia hija me trata como si fuera una molestia. Mami, yo no sabía. No, Maria. No sabías porque nunca preguntaste. Nunca te interesó saber cuánto costó criarte sola. Nunca te interizo saber cuantas noches mi quid despierta preguntandome si estaba haciendo lo correcto. 27:50 Nunca te interizo saber que rechace tres propuestas de matrimonio porque ningún hombre iba ser más importante que mi hija. El lobby del hotel se había vuelto nuestro escenario de dolor. Otros huéspedes nos miraban discretamente, pero ya no me importaba. Esta conversación tenía que suceder. ¿Sabes que es lo más doloroso de todo, María? Que te convertiste exactamente en lo que yo trato de evitar. Te convertiste en alguien que abandona a su familia cuando ya no la necesita. 28:23 María se desplomó en el solazando sin control. Mami, yo no quería lastimarte. Nunca fue mi intención. Es solo que Sergio dice que basta. Great y todo el lobby se volteó a vernos. Basta de Sergio, dice. Sergio piensa. Sergio opina. ¿Dónde está María en todo esto? ¿Dónde está mi hija que tenía criterio propio? Yo no sé qué decir. 28:52 Su voz era la de una niña perdida. Sergio me ayuda a ver las cosas de manera diferente. Él dice que ha sido muy controladora, que nunca me has dejado crecer. Controladora. Ahí estaba esa palabra de nuevo. María, dime una cosa. Cuando te he controlado? Cuando te he prohibido hacer algo que realmente querías hacer? Bueno, siempre opinaba sobre mis novios. 29:23 opinaba, no prohibía. ¿Recuerdas a David? Ese muchacho que te golpeó en la universidad. ¿Recuerdas que te dije? Sus ojos se llenaron de reconocimiento. Me dijiste que ningún hombre tenía derecho a ponerme una mano encima. Exacto. Y eso era control o era protección maternal. Era protección, admitio en voz baja. 29:53 Y que he de Iván? Ese que te engañó con tu mejor amiga. ¿Recuerdas lo que te dije? Me dijiste que merecía a alguien que me respetara. Y eso era control, no era amor. Entonces, explícame cómo Sergio te ha convencido de que mi amor es control y su manipulación es libertad. María se quedó calada procesando mis palabras. 30:23 Podía ver la confusión en sus ojos, la lucha interna entre lo que sentía y lo que lo habían enseñado a pensar. Mami, Sergio no me manipula. Él me ama. Te ama, María. Un hombre que te ama no te aleja de tu madre. Un hombre que te ama no te hace elegir entre él y tu familia. Un hombre que te ama no te convence de que tratas mal a la persona que más te ha amado en la vida, pero él dice que necesito ser independiente. María, mira a tu alrededor. 30:57 Mira este hotel lujoso donde estoy hospedada. ¿Crees que una mujer dependiente pueda permitirse esto? ¿Crees que una mujer sin recursos pueda congelar $63,000 como si fuera cambio suelto? Sus ojos se abrieron con sorpresa. No había pensado en eso. No. Porque Sergio te ha hecho creer que soy una vieja necesitada que depende de ustedes, pero la realidad es muy diferente. Mi amor. 31:30 Sac mi teléfono y lo mostrar la panela. Esta es mi cuenta bancaria principal. Li la cifra. Sus ojos se agrandaron hasta parecer platos. Mami, esto es real, muy real. Y esta es solo una de mis cuentas. ¿Quieres ver las otras? No entiendo de dónde salió todo este dinero. 31:59 Trabajo, inversiones inteligentes, propiedades que comprar cuando tú eras pequeña. ¿Recuerdas esos fines de semana que me ibas a acompañar a visitar amigas? En realidad estaba viendo propiedades, haciendo inversiones, construyendo un futuro para los dos. María se llevó las manos a la boca. Todo este tiempo has tenido tanto dinero y nunca me dijiste. ¿Para qué? Para que me amaras por mi dinero. 32:27 Para que Sergio pusiera los ojos en mi cuenta bancaria en lugar de en tu corazón. Quería que me amaras por lo que soy, no por lo que tengo. Pero, mami, si tienes tanto dinero, ¿por qué trabajabas tan duro? ¿Por qué siempre decías que el dinero estaba apretado? ¿Por qué quería enseñar el valor del esfuerzo? Quería que supieras que las cosas buenas se ganan con trabajo. 32:55 Quería criar con valores, no con caprichos. Las lágrimas volvieron a sus ojos. Mami, me siento horrible. No sabía nada de esto. No, María, no sabías por qué nunca preguntaste. En todos estos años nunca te interesó saber cómo estaba realmente, qué planes tenía, qué sonaba para mi futuro. Solo te interesaba lo que podía darte. Eso no es cierto. 33:25 Su voz sonaba menos convincente cada vez. No, dime, ¿sabes cuál es mi color favorito? Silencio. ¿Sabes cuál es mi comida favorita? Más silencio. ¿Sabes qué me gusta hacer en mis ratos libres? El silencio era ensordecedor. No sabes nada de mí, María. Para ti soy solo mami, la que resuelve problemas y de dinero. Pero yo soy Maribel. 34:01 Soy una mujer de 71 años con gustos, preferencias, sueños y planes. Soy una persona completa, no solo tu madre. Mami, déjame terminar. Cuando Sergio dijo que ustedes creen que $3,000 garantizaban mi presencia, confirmo lo que ya sabía. Para ustedes, mi valor es muy en dinero. Mientras pueda dar, soy útil. Cuando no pueda, ser descartable. 34:29 No digas eso. Tú sabes que te amo. ¿Me amas? Entonces contesta esto. Porque en toda tu página de redes sociales, en todas tus fotos de la boda, en todos tus posts sobre tu felicidad, nunca aparezco? ¿Por qué nunca me mencionas? ¿Por qué es como si no existiera en tu vida? María bajó la cabeza derrotada. 34:58 Sergio dice que publicar mucho sobre la familia es de mal. Justo. ¿Y tú qué dices? ¿Tú qué piensas? Oh, ya no piensas por ti misma? Mi voz es en derecho. María, ¿cuándo fue la última vez que tomaste una decisión sin consultar con Sergio? Él es mi pareja. Es normal consultar las cosas. Normal. 35:29 Es normal que tu pareja decida si puedes o no mencionar a tu madre en redes sociales. Es normal que tu pareja opine sobre si tu madre pueda ir a tu boda. El solo quiere protegerme. ¿Proteger de qué? De tu propia madre. Mi inclinación delante Miranda fijamente. María, voy a decir algo que espero que entiendas. Sergio no te protege de mí. Te isla de mí y hay una diferencia enorme. No entiendo la diferencia. I chose to sacrifice my chance to rebuild my life because you were more important than anything else in the world. My voice also cracked. And now, 43 years later, my own daughter treats me like I'm a nuisance. Mom, I didn't know. No, Maria, you didn't know because you never asked. You never cared to know how much it cost to raise you alone. You never cared to know how many nights I stayed awake wondering if I was doing the right thing. You never cared to know that I turned down 3 marriage proposals because no man was going to be more important than my daughter. The hotel lobby had become our stage of pain. Other guests looked at us discreetly, but I no longer cared. This conversation had to happen. Do you know what's the most painful part of all this, Maria? That you became exactly what I tried to avoid. You became someone who abandons their family when they no longer need them. Maria collapsed into the chair, sobbing uncontrollably. Mom, I didn't want to hurt you. It was never my intention. It's just that Sergio says enough. I shouted, and the whole lobby turned to look at us. Enough with Sergio, I said. Sergio thinks. Sergio decides. Where's Maria in all of this? Where is my daughter, who had her own opinions? I don't know what to say. Her voice was that of a lost child. Sergio helps me see things differently. He says I've been too controlling, that you've never let me grow. Controlling. There was that word again. Maria, tell me something. When have I controlled you? When have I forbidden you to do something you really wanted to do? Well, you always had an opinion about my boyfriends. An opinion, not a prohibition. Do you remember David? That guy who hit you in college? Do you remember what I told you? Her eyes filled with recognition. You told me no man had the right to put a hand on me. Exactly. And was that control or maternal protection? It was protection, she admitted softly. And what about Yvonne? The one who cheated on you with your best friend. Do you remember what I told you? You told me I deserved someone who respected me. And that was control, not love. Then, explain to me how Sergio convinced you that my love is control and his manipulation is freedom. Maria stayed silent, processing my words. I could see the confusion in her eyes, the inner struggle between what she felt and what she had been taught to think. Mom, Sergio doesn't manipulate me. He loves me. He loves you, Maria. A man who loves you doesn't push you away from your mother. A man who loves you doesn't make you choose between him and your family. A man who loves you doesn't convince you to treat the person who has loved you the most in your life like that. But he says I need to be independent. Maria, look around you. Look at this luxurious hotel where I'm staying. Do you think a dependent woman can afford this? Do you think a woman without resources can freeze $63,000 like it's pocket change? Her eyes widened with surprise. She hadn't thought about that. No, because Sergio has made you believe I'm an old needy woman who depends on you, but the reality is very different, my love. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screen. This is my main bank account. Read the number. Her eyes grew as large as saucers. Mom, this is real, very real. And this is just one of my accounts. Do you want to see the others? I don't understand where all this money came from. Work, smart investments, properties I bought when you were little. Do you remember those weekends you came with me to visit friends? I was actually looking at properties, making investments, building a future for both of us. Maria put her hands to her mouth. You've had all this money all this time and never told me? Why? So you could love me for my money? So Sergio could focus on my bank account instead of your heart? I wanted you to love me for who I am, not for what I have. But, Mom, if you have so much money, why did you work so hard? Why did you always say money was tight? Because I wanted to teach you the value of effort. I wanted you to know that good things are earned with work. I wanted to raise you with values, not with whims. Tears welled up in her eyes again. Mom, I feel horrible. I didn't know any of this. No, Maria, you didn't know because you never asked. All these years, you never cared to know how I was really doing, what plans I had, what I dreamed for my future. You only cared about what I could give you. That's not true. Her voice sounded less convincing each time. No, tell me, do you know what my favorite color is? Silence. Do you know what my favorite food is? More silence. Do you know what I like to do in my free time? The silence was deafening. You don't know anything about me, Maria. To you, I'm just Mom, the one who solves problems and gives money. But I'm Maribel. I'm a 71-year-old woman with tastes, preferences, dreams, and plans. I'm a whole person, not just your mother. Mom, let me finish. Yesterday, when Sergio said you all thought $3,000 guaranteed my presence, it confirmed what I already knew. To you, my value is measured in money. As long as I can give, I'm useful. When I can't, I'm disposable. Don't say that. You know I love you. Do you love me? Seriously? Then answer this. Why, in all your social media posts, in all your wedding photos, in all your posts about your happiness, do I never appear? Why do you never mention me? Why is it like I don't exist in your life? Maria lowered her head, defeated. Sergio says that posting too much about family is bad. Right. And what do you say? What do you think? Or do you no longer think for yourself? My voice hardened. Maria, when was the last time you made a decision without consulting Sergio? He's my partner. It's normal to consult with him. Normal. It's normal for your partner to decide whether or not you can mention your mother on social media. It's normal for your partner to decide if your mother can go to your wedding. He just wants to protect me. Protect you from what? From your own mother. I leaned forward, looking at her intensely. Maria, I'm going to tell you something I hope you understand. Sergio doesn't protect you from me. He isolates you from me, and there's a huge difference. I don't understand the difference. Protection gives you the tools to face the world. Isolation takes away those tools, so you depend on the one who isolates you. Sergio doesn't want you to be strong, he wants you to be dependent on him. But he makes me feel special. Special or needy? Maria, have you asked yourself why Sergio never had a problem with me paying for your expenses, but he does have a problem with me having a close relationship with you? Maria frowned, thinking she hadn't seen it that way. Of course not, because he's very smart. He lets you receive my money, but not my love. He lets you benefit from my generosity, but not from my wisdom. He makes you my heir, but not my daughter. Mom, are you confusing me? No, Maria, I'm clarifying things for you. For the first time in years, I'm telling you the truth without filters. I leaned back in the chair, emotionally exhausted. Now tell me, what's more important to you? The money for your wedding or the relationship with your mother? Both. Why do I have to choose? Because yesterday you already chose. You chose the money when you closed the door on me. You chose the money when you treated me like a provider, not as a mother. You chose the money when you humiliated me in front of my son-in-law. We didn't choose the money. Her voice sounded less sure. No? Then explain to me why Sergio mentioned the $63,000 in the first 5 minutes of our conversation. Explain to me why his first concern wasn't apologizing for treating me badly, but making sure the money stayed available. Maria stayed silent, processing. I could see in her eyes that the pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place. Mom, what do you want me to do? I want you to think for yourself. Without Sergio's influence. I want you to remember who you were before you met him. Were you more dependent on me or more authentic? Maria, before Sergio, when was the last time you spoke badly to me? When was the last time you disrespected me? Another revealing silence. Never, she finally admitted. Never, because I taught you to respect your mother. I taught you that family is sacred. I taught you values that Sergio is destroying, one by one. I stood up, tired of the conversation. Maria, I'm going to give you 24 hours to decide what's more important to you. If by tomorrow, at this time, you haven't made a decision, I will make it for you, and I assure you, you won't like my decision. What decision, Mom? What are you going to do? That depends on you. But remember something. I've lived 71 years without Sergio. I can perfectly live another 20 without him. The question is, can you live without your mother? I walked away, leaving her there, sobbing in the hotel lobby, but this time, her tears didn't stop me. This time, my pain was stronger than my maternal instinct to console her, because the time had come for Maria to learn that actions have consequences, and that a mother's love, although infinite, is not unconditional. When it comes to respect and dignity, that afternoon, I dedicated myself to doing something I hadn't done in years, taking care of myself. I went to the hotel spa, got a massage, a manicure, a pedicure, and cut my hair at the most elegant salon in town. I bought new clothes that made me feel powerful and elegant, because I had made a decision. I was no longer going to dress like the selfless mother everyone expected. I was going to dress like the successful woman I truly was. While I was trying on a sleek red dress at the most expensive boutique in the mall, my phone rang. It was Sergio. This time, I decided to answer. Hello, my voice sounded cold, distant. Maribel, we need to talk. His tone was no longer arrogant like yesterday. There was a note of nervousness that I liked to hear. Talk, I said while admiring myself in the mirror. The red dress fit me perfectly. Look, I think there was a misunderstanding yesterday. Maria is very upset, and so am I. The wedding is tomorrow, and we need to fix this. Misunderstanding. What a convenient word. There was no misunderstanding, Sergio. You were very clear yesterday. I wasn't welcome at my own daughter's wedding. The message came across perfectly. That's not what we meant. We were stressed. You know how weddings are. Sergio, let me ask you something. In these 3 years, have you ever treated me like your fiancé's mother, or have you always seen me as an obstacle? There was a long silence. I don't know what you're talking about, Maribel. I've always respected you. I laughed. A genuine laugh that even surprised the saleswoman. Respected. Calling me old is respect. Saying I'm manipulative is respect. Convincing my daughter that my love is toxic is respect. I never said those things. Sergio, do you think I'm stupid? I'm 71 years old. I'm not a naive teenager. I know exactly what you've been doing. You've been poisoning my daughter against me since the day you met her. That's a lie. I love Maria. Do you love her, or do you love what she can give you? Because a man who loves a woman doesn't push her away from her family. A man who loves a woman helps her be a better daughter, not worse. Maria is an adult who can make her own decisions. Her own decisions, Sergio? Maria hasn't made a single decision on her own since she met you. Everything she thinks, everything she feels, everything she decides, goes through your filter first. I gestured for the saleswoman to pack up the red dress. I was going to take it with me. Maribel, we didn't come to discuss our relationship. We came to ask you to release the wedding money. There's the truth. You didn't call to apologize for treating me badly. You didn't call because you realized you made a mistake. You called for the money. The wedding is tomorrow. We have commitments, vendors to pay. We can't cancel everything last minute, and that's my problem. You all decided that I wasn't important enough to be at the wedding. Now I decide that your wedding isn't important enough for my money. You're being very cruel, Maribel. Do you really want to ruin your own daughter's wedding? Cruel. That word stopped me in my tracks. Sergio, do you know what's cruel? Cruel is raising a daughter alone for 43 years and having her slam the door in your face on the day of her wedding. Cruel is working until you're sick to give everything to your daughter and having her treat you like a stranger. Cruel is loving unconditionally and receiving disdain in return. But the money is already committed. People are coming from far away. It's going to be a public humiliation. Exactly. It's going to be a public humiliation, just like the humiliation you made me endure yesterday when you treated me like an intruder in the life of my own daughter. Maribel, be reasonable. We can fix this. You can come to the wedding. We'll save you a special seat. A special seat. After paying $63,000, they offered me a special seat, as if it were charity. A special seat. What does that mean? The last row in the kitchen? Or maybe standing outside, watching the cars? My voice became harder with every word. Don't offer me crumbs after taking away the feast. All right. First row next to Maria's parents. Sergio, I'm Maria's mother. I don't need to sit next to her parents. I'm the closest family she has. Or at least I was until you brainwashed her. Maribel, tell me what you want, what you need to release the money. There it was, the million-dollar question. Literally, what I want, Sergio, is for my daughter to remember who her mother is. What I want is for her to understand that respect isn't bought with money. What I want is for her to learn that actions have consequences. And how do we do that? Very simple. I want Maria to come to my hotel tonight alone, without you, and I want her to apologize to me. Not for the money, but for disrespecting me. And I want her to promise that she will never again let anyone distance her from her mother. That's emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail? Sergio, do you know what emotional blackmail is? It's convincing a daughter that her mother is toxic to control her better. It's making a woman feel guilty for loving her family. It's using love as a tool for manipulation. I've never done that. No, then explain to me why Maria, who used to call me every day, now only calls when she needs money. Explain to me why Maria, who used to visit me every weekend, now comes once a month if I'm lucky. That's normal when people get married. Priorities change. Priorities change, Sergio, but family love doesn't disappear unless someone is actively working to destroy it. I hung up the phone without giving him a chance to respond. I was tired of his justifications, his manipulations, his arrogance, but most of all, I was tired of being treated as if I were the problem when I was clearly the victim. That night, while I dined alone in the hotel restaurant, I reflected on the entire situation. For the first time in years, I felt free. Free from the constant worry of pleasing Maria. Free from the anxiety of not doing something wrong that could drive her away from me. Free from walking on eggshells to avoid upsetting Sergio because I had understood something fundamental. I hadn't lost my daughter. My daughter had lost herself. And until she found herself again, until she remembered who she was before Sergio, there was no relationship to save. My phone vibrated with a text message. It was Maria. Mom, Sergio told me about your conversation. I'm coming to see you tonight. We need to talk. For the first time in 24 hours, I smiled for real. Maybe, just maybe, my daughter was starting to wake up, but I was no longer the desperate mother willing to accept any crumb of attention. I was a woman who knew her worth and wasn't going to accept less than the respect I deserved. The war had just begun, and this time I had all the weapons. Maria arrived at my suite at 8 p.m. When I opened the door, I was surprised by her appearance. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her hair was disheveled, and she was wearing the same wrinkled clothes from the morning. She looked destroyed, but for the first time in years, she had come alone. "Come in," I said, remaining calm. She entered slowly, looking around the elegant suite in amazement. "Mom, this place is amazing." "Yes, it is. When you value yourself, you treat yourself as you deserve," I replied, serving 2 glasses of wine. "Would you like some?" "Yes, please. I need something to calm my nerves." She took the glass with trembling hands. "Mom, I've been thinking all day about our conversation this morning, and I think you're right about many things." "About many things?" "No, Maria, I'm right about everything." My voice was firm, but not cruel. "The question is, are you ready to admit it?" She sat down on the sofa, burying her head in her hands. "I don't know what's happening to me, Mom." "You didn't lose it, my love. It was taken from you." I sat in front of her, studying her face. "Tell me something, Maria. When was the last time you made an important decision without consulting with Sergio?" She looked up confused. "I don't understand the question." "It's very simple. When was the last time you said, 'This is what I want,' regardless of what he thought?" Maria sat silently for a long time, processing the question. "No, I don't remember." "Exactly. Because for the past 3 years, you haven't been you. You've been the version of you that Sergio needs you to be. But he loves me. He tells me I'm perfect for him." "Maria, have you ever asked yourself why you're perfect for him? Is it because he really knows and accepts you as you are? Or because you've molded yourself to fit what he wants?" Tears began to fall down her cheeks again. "Mom, I'm so confused. Sergio says he's helping me grow, but you say he's controlling me. I don't know who to believe." "Don't believe anyone, Maria. Believe in yourself. Listen to your heart, not to the outside voices." "But how do I do that? I don't know what my own voice is anymore." "Let's start with something simple. Tell me, did you really want such a big, expensive wedding?" Maria frowned. "Actually, I always dreamed of something more intimate, a small ceremony on the beach with close family." "So why wasn't it like that?" "Because Sergio says a wedding is the most important event in a woman's life, that we have to celebrate it big so everyone can see how happy we are." "Everyone who, Maria? Who cares so much about impressing people?" "His friends, his colleagues, his family." She stopped talking suddenly, as if she had realized something. "Mom, I just realized I didn't mention my friends or family." "Exactly. This wedding isn't for you, Maria. It's for him." "But I agreed." I said yes. "Of course you said yes. Sergio is very smart. He didn't force you directly. He convinced you that it was your idea." I stood up and walked toward the window. "Maria, do you remember how you were before you met him?" I was more spontaneous, more cheerful, more myself. "Yes." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Mom, is it normal for my boyfriend to constantly criticize me, to tell me how to dress, how to speak, who to associate with?" My heart raced. She was finally starting to see reality. "No, my love, that's not normal, that's control. But he says he does it because he loves me, because he wants me to be the best version of myself." "Maria, the best version of yourself is the authentic version, not the version he wants to mold." I turned to look at her directly. "A man who truly loves you accepts you as you are and helps you shine by being yourself. He doesn't change you to fit his idea of perfection." "Mom, I'm scared." "Of what?" "That you're right. That I've made a terrible mistake, that tomorrow I'm going to marry someone who doesn't really know me." "And what scares you most about that?" "That it's too late to change my mind." She stood up abruptly, pacing around the room. "Mom, everything is paid for. The guests have already arrived. Sergio's family came from another state. If I cancel now, it's going to be a horrible scandal." "Maria, would you prefer a scandal for one day or a lifetime of unhappiness?" My question stopped her in her tracks. "A marriage is not just an event, my love. It's a lifetime. And if you have doubts, now imagine yourself 10 years from now." "But Sergio is going to get furious. He'll say I'm crazy, that I'm irresponsible and that matters more to you than your own happiness. No, but no buts, Maria. Either your happiness is more important than his anger, or it's not. It can't be both. Maria collapsed onto the sofa again. Mom, if I cancel the wedding, I'll lose Sergio. And if you don't cancel it, what are you going to lose? Myself and you. The admission came out as a painful whisper. Maria, I'm going to tell you something I hope you'll remember for the rest of your life. It's better to be alone being yourself than to be accompanied by a false version of yourself. I sat down beside her and took her hands. I was alone for many years after your father left, and they were happy years because I was authentic. Didn't you miss having a partner? Of course, but I preferred authentic loneliness to false company. And look, I eventually found real love, but at that time it wasn't my priority. Real love, when? 5 years ago, I met a wonderful man, Moises. But I didn't tell you about him because by then, Sergio had already convinced you that I was problematic. Her eyes widened. You have a boyfriend and you never told me. Maria, I tried to tell you several times, but every time I mentioned that I had met someone, you would change the subject or tell me to be careful with men who take advantage of older women. That sounds like something Sergio would say. Exactly. Because they weren't your words anymore, they were his words coming out of your mouth. I stood up and walked to my purse, taking out a photo. Look, it's a photo of Moises and me on our last trip together. We looked happy, relaxed, in love. Mom, he really loves you a lot. He adores me and I adore him, but I've never allowed him to change me or to separate me from you. Because when love is real, it doesn't destroy existing relationships, it enriches them. He wants to get to know me. He's dying to meet you, but respects that I set the time and manner. He's never pressured me to choose between him and my daughter. The comparison was obvious and painful. Mom, it hurts so much to realize all these things. I know, my love, but the pain of the truth is temporary. The pain of living a lie is for life. I sat next to her again. Maria, regardless of what you decide about the wedding, I need you to understand something. You are my daughter and you will always be my daughter, but I will not allow you to disrespect me. What does that mean? It means that if you choose to stay with Sergio and he keeps poisoning you against me, I'm going to protect my peace of mind. I'm not going to keep being the ATM in their relationship or the villain in their love story. Mom, I don't want to lose you. Then don't lose me, but don't expect me to settle for the crumbs of love that Sergio lets you give me. My voice hardened slightly. I deserve a daughter who defends me, who values me, who includes me in her life out of love, not out of obligation. Maria broke down in tears. Mom, I've been horrible to you. I didn't realize what was happening. My love, realizing is the first step. Now the question is, what are you going to do with this new information? Maria cried in my arms for 20 minutes. They weren't tears of manipulation or self-pity, but tears of recognition, of real pain for having lost herself. When she finally calmed down, she looked at me with the clearest eyes I had seen in years. Mom, I'm going to cancel the wedding. Her words surprised me, even though it was what I expected to hear. Are you sure? It's a big decision. I'm sure. I can't marry someone who has distanced me from the most important person in my life. I can't marry someone who makes me doubt my own mother. Maria, cancel the wedding only if you really don't want to marry him. Don't cancel it for me. It's not for you, Mom, it's for me. I've realized I've been living the life he wants. No, the life I want. She stood up from the sofa with determination. I'm going home right now, and I'm going to tell him I'm not getting married tomorrow. Do you want me to come with you? No, I have to do this alone, but I need to know that when I leave there, I'll have a place to go. You'll always have a place with me, my love. Always. I hugged her tightly. But Maria, be prepared. Sergio isn't going to accept this easily. He's going to try to manipulate you into changing your mind. I know, but I'm not going to fall for his games anymore. She cupped my face in her hands. Mom, forgive me for being so blind. Forgive me for doubting your love. It's already forgiven, my love. The only thing that matters is that you've regained your sanity. I accompanied her to the door. Call me as soon as you finish talking to him. No matter the hour, I promise. After Maria left, I sat on the balcony of my suite with a glass of wine, waiting. I knew the conversation with Sergio wasn't going to be easy. I knew he was going to use all his manipulation tactics to make her change her mind, but I also knew my daughter had awakened, and an awakened woman is very hard to put back to sleep. My phone rang at 11 p.m. It was Maria, and she sounded agitated. "Mom, I'm in my car outside the house. Sergio is furious. He shouted horrible things at me." "What kind of things?" "He told me I'm crazy, that you brainwashed me, that I'm an irresponsible person who doesn't understand the consequences of her actions." "And what did you tell him?" "I told him that for the first time in 3 years, I'm thinking clearly, that I realized he's pushed me away from you and from myself." He went crazy. "Mom, I've never seen him like this." "Did he hurt you?" "No, physically, but his voice cracked." "Mom, he told me that if I leave him now, he'll ruin my life, that he'll tell everyone I'm unstable, that he'll make me lose my job." "Your job? Does your job have anything to do with this?" "Do you know my boss? He says he'll tell him I'm an unreliable person, that you can't depend on me for anything important." "Maria, that's called blackmail, and it confirms everything I've told you about him." "I know, but I'm scared." "And if he carries out his threats, my love?" "A man who threatens you to make you stay with him doesn't love you, he possesses you. And possession is not love." "Mom, can I come to the hotel? I don't want to go into the house." "Of course. Come immediately." 20 minutes later, Maria arrived at my suite with a small suitcase. She looked pale but determined. I packed only the essentials. "Tomorrow, I'll come back for the rest of my things when he's not around." "How did he take the news of the cancellation?" "At first, he tried to convince me it was just pre-wedding nerves. Then he got angry and started yelling at me. In the end, when he saw I wasn't going to change my mind, he became calculated and cold. That's when the threat started." "Maria, that change of strategy is typical of manipulators. First, they try to convince you, then they intimidate you, and finally, they threaten you." I sat on the bed beside her. "How do you feel?" "Scared, but relieved. It's like I've woken up from a nightmare." "And what are you going to do tomorrow?" "The guests are going to arrive expecting a wedding." "I've thought about that. I'm going to go early to the church and personally explain to the closest family members. For the rest, we'll put a sign at the entrance." "A sign?" "Yes, one that says, 'The wedding is canceled by the bride's decision. We apologize for the inconvenience.'" Simple and straightforward. I was surprised by her determination. "And Sergio?" "Sergio can do whatever he wants. He can make up whatever stories he comes up with. The people who really know me will know I'm not crazy." "Maria, I'm so proud of you." "I know this isn't easy." "No, it's not easy. But, Mom, for the first time in years, I feel like myself. And you know what the best part of all this is?" "What?" "That you don't have to ask anyone's permission to be who you are." That night, Maria slept in the second bedroom of my suite, but before we went to bed, we did something we hadn't done in years. We stayed awake talking until late, not about problems or drama, but about dreams, plans, happy memories. For the first time in a long while, my daughter was my daughter again. "Mom, would you tell me more about Moises? Do you really want to know?" "Yes, I want to know your life, not just be a part of it." I told her about Moises, about our trips, about how he had brought back the joy of being loved for who I really am. "When will I meet him?" "When you're ready, no pressure, no hidden agenda, just when you feel you want to meet the man who makes your mom happy." "I want to meet him, Mom. I want you to know that I support your happiness." Her words filled my heart. "Maria, there's something else I want to tell you, something about your financial future." "What do you mean?" "Tomorrow, we're going to see Alejandro. I'm going to change my will again. Everything I have is going to be yours, but with conditions." "What conditions?" "That you never let anyone manipulate you using my money. That you use that inheritance to be independent, not to buy love. And that if you ever have children, you teach them the value of family respect." "Mom, I don't need your money to love you." "I know, my love, but I want you to have it so you never depend on anyone, so you never have to endure mistreatment because of economic need. That happened to you with your father." "Yes. That's why it's so important to me that you're financially independent." When we finally went to sleep, for the first time in years, I lay down without that constant anxiety about my relationship with Maria. I had gotten my daughter back, not just physically, but emotionally. I had won the most important war of my life, the war for the soul of my daughter. But I knew Sergio wasn't going to just sit back. A man like him doesn't accept defeat easily. Tomorrow was going to be a hard day, but I wouldn't have to face it alone anymore. My daughter was on my side again. The day of what should have been the wedding dawned gray and rainy. Maria woke up early, more determined than ever. Mom, I want to go to the church before Sergio arrives. I need to talk to Father Alejandro and with the family members who have already arrived. Do you want me to come with you? No, I have to do this alone, but I need to ask you a favor. Anything you need, you can unlock the money, not for the wedding, but to return it to the vendors who are not at fault for anything. It would be unfair for them to lose their money because of my decisions. I felt so proud at that moment. My daughter had regained not only her authenticity, but also her sense of justice. Of course. As soon as the bank opens, I'll make the transfer. Thank you, Mom. Now I understand it wasn't about the money, but about respect. Maria left at 8 a.m. I stayed in the hotel waiting for news and preparing for what I knew was coming, the revenge of Sergio. I didn't have to wait long. At 10 a.m., my phone started ringing with unknown numbers. First call. Maribel, it's Leticia, Sergio's sister. What did you do to Maria? She's acting like a crazy person. Second call. It's Beatriz, Sergio's mother. We demand an explanation. You've ruined my son's life. Third call. Maribel, it's David, the best man. This is a scandal. How could you let Maria do this? I answered all the calls with the same response. Sergio knows exactly why Maria made this decision. If you want answers, ask him. Because I knew Sergio had told them his version of the story, where I was the villain, the manipulator who had destroyed their happiness. But the call that really surprised me was from a number I didn't recognize. Ms. Maribel, it's Yvonne, a reporter from the local news channel. I was starting to feel a sense of calm settle in my chest, but I knew that this was only the beginning. Sergio had been planning on using this entire situation to his advantage, turning it into a public scandal in the hopes that he could manipulate Maria back into his life. The moment I knew he'd reached out to the press, I realized just how far he would go. The call I got that night confirmed my worst fears. Sergio was trying to twist the narrative to make me look like the villain. Ms. Maribel, I'm Yvonne, a reporter from the local news station. I knew exactly what he wanted. We have information that Maria and Sergio's wedding was canceled last minute due to family interference. Could you give us your side of the story? I didn't have a comment for the press. I ended the call quickly, but deep down I knew this was just the beginning of their attempts to destroy me publicly. Maria returned to the hotel around noon, exhausted, but at peace. How did it go? Better than I expected. Father Alejandro was very understanding. He said he prefers a canceled wedding to an unhappy marriage. And the family, most of them understood. Some were upset, but when I explained to them I had serious doubts about the relationship, they said I did the right thing. And Sergio? Sergio arrived while I was finishing explaining the situation. He threw a huge tantrum, shouting that you brainwashed me, that I'm hysterical, that he's invested 3 years of his life in me. How did people react? Mom, that's when I realized that a lot of people already knew what Sergio was really like. His own aunt told me afterward, Maria, my nephew has always been controlling. I'm glad you realized it before the marriage. Really? Yeah, apparently it wasn't a secret to anyone except me. But the conversation was interrupted when Maria's phone rang. It was Sergio. She hesitated before answering. Answer on speaker, I suggested. I want to hear what he has to say now that his plan is ruined. Thank God you're answering, Sergio said desperately. Listen, we can fix this. I know your mom filled your head with stupid ideas, but we can get past this. His voice was pleading. Sergio, those aren't stupid ideas, they're things I should have seen a long time ago. Maria, love, you're confused. Your mom is jealous of our relationship. She can't stand that you're happy without her. There he was again, trying to plant doubts. Sergio, my mom isn't jealous, she's worried, and she was right to be. Worried about what? I love you, Maria. I've given you everything. No, Sergio, you've taken everything from me. My personality, my relationship with my mom, my self-confidence. That's not love, that's a lie. I've helped you grow, helped you mature. Mature? Maturing means isolating me from my family, means making me doubt my own feelings, means needing your approval for everything. Maria's voice grew firmer with every word. Sergio, you made me believe my mom was the problem when the problem was you. Maria, don't do this to me. Think about everything we've built together. What have we built, Sergio? A relationship where you decide everything and I obey? That's not building, that's controlling. But I love you. That doesn't count for anything. If you really loved me, you would never have distanced me from my mother. If you really loved me, you would have helped me be a better daughter, not worse. Maria looked at me while speaking, and I saw a strength in her eyes that she had lost years ago. Sergio, this is over. Don't call me anymore. Wait. And if we talk to your mom, if we make up, we can start over. It was amazing how now he wanted to include me, now that he realized he had underestimated me. No, Sergio, there's no going back. And let me tell you something. My mom was right about you from the beginning. Too bad I was too blind to see it. Maria, if you leave me, you'll regret it. No one will love you like I do. I hope you're right. I hope no one loves me like you, because your love was killing me inside. And she hung up. Immediately, her phone started ringing again. And again and again. Block him, I told her. You've had the conversation you needed to have. Now he's going to try to wear you down with calls until you answer. Maria blocked Sergio's number and sighed with relief. But I knew this wasn't over. I knew men like Sergio don't accept defeat easily. They seek revenge, and sure enough, an hour later, his next strategy began: social media. Maria received screenshots from her friends. Sergio had posted on Facebook. After 3 years together, my fiancé decided to cancel our wedding on the same day because her mother convinced her that I'm a bad person. It's sad to see how family manipulation can destroy true love. Mom, he's trying to make me look like a crazy person. I know, my love. It was predictable. What should I do? Should I respond publicly? No, never get into public wars with manipulators. They're experts at playing the victim. But I am going to do something. What are you going to do? I'm going to tell the world who Maribel really is and who my daughter is. If Sergio wants a media war, he'll get it, but not with the weapons he's expecting. I sat down at my laptop with determination. Maria, do you trust me? Completely, Mom. It was time for Sergio to learn that he had completely underestimated his opponent. I wasn't just a worried mother, I was an intelligent woman, with resources, with contacts, and with the truth on my side. The real war had just begun. That afternoon, I opened my laptop and created something I never thought I would, a social media account, but not just any account. An account where I would tell my entire story, with proof, with dates, with everything. If Sergio wanted to play dirty, I was going to show him how it's played when you have 71 years of experience. Mom, are you sure about this? Maria watched me write my first post nervously. My love, my entire life I've kept silent when I've been attacked. I've been the polite lady who doesn't make a scene. But Sergio touched my daughter, and I won't forgive that for anyone. My first post was simple but powerful. My name is Maribel. I'm 71 years old, and yesterday my daughter canceled her wedding. Her ex-fiancé is saying that I manipulated her. This is my real story with proof. I attached a photo of myself at the hotel, elegant and dignified, and another photo of Maria and me hugging. Within 2 hours, the post had 1,000 shares. In 4 hours, 3,000. People were intrigued. Comments of support started to roll in. Ms. Maribel, tell us the truth. Mothers always know. Respect to women who defend their daughters. My second post was more direct. Sergio says I manipulated my daughter. Let me show you the last conversations we had before she decided to cancel the wedding. I'm posting screenshots of his threatening messages, his insults, his attempts at blackmail. Does this seem like the behavior of a man who loves? The effect was immediate. The comments became more intense. That man is an abuser. I'm so glad Maria realized it in time. Sergio is a classic manipulator with layers of lies. The narrative was changing, but my most powerful post was the third one. Sergio says I ruined his life. I didn't ruin anything, I just stopped funding his show. I posted a screenshot of the $3,000 transfer I had made for the wedding and another screenshot when I froze it. A man who truly loves doesn't measure that love in money. That's when things went viral. Thousands of women started sharing their own stories of financial manipulation. Mothers who had gone through similar situations, daughters who recognized the control patterns. My story had become a symbol of something bigger. Maria was astonished. "Mom, you have 50,000 followers in one day." "I know, my love, because there are many women who have lived this." I just put into words what many have felt. "And Sergio? He's desperate." Look, my daughter's ex-fiancé had started responding aggressively on social media, but every reply made him look worse. That old woman is lying. Maria was happy until her mother intervened. Maribel is a professional manipulator. Each of his comments generated more support for us. He was sinking on his own. I observed Maria. Manipulators don't know how to act when they lose control of the narrative. "Mom, I'm getting so many messages from women telling me similar stories, some very sad. It's the power of speaking the truth, my love. The truth resonates." But the final blow came when we least expected it. One of Sergio's ex-girlfriends, motivated by my story, decided to speak publicly. Her name was Letitia, and she had been with him 2 years before he met Maria. Her testimony was devastating. "Sergio did the exact same thing to me. He pushed me away from my family, controlled my money, made me believe my mother was toxic. When I finally realized and left, he also tried to ruin my reputation." Seeing Maria go through the same thing breaks my heart, but I'm glad she had a mother like Maribel to defend her. After that testimony, 3 more women came forward, all with almost identical stories. Sergio had a pattern. Maria hadn't been his first victim, but thanks to me, she had been his last. "Mom, I feel horrible for all those women." Don't feel horrible, my love. Feel grateful that you realized in time, and feel proud that your story is going to help other women recognize the signs. A week later, Maria and I were at my house, packing her things from the apartment she had shared with Sergio. He had disappeared from social media after the scandal. He had lost his job when his boss saw all the viral material. His reputation was ruined. "Do you feel bad for him?" I asked Maria while folding her clothes. "I don't feel bad for the person I was when I was with him. But not for him." "And how do you feel now?" "Free. For the first time in 3 years, I feel completely free." That afternoon, while we had coffee in my garden, Maria asked me a question that surprised me. "Mom, when will I meet Moises? Are you sure you want to meet him?" "More than sure. I want to meet the man who makes my mom happy, and I want to apologize to him for all the time we lost because of my fault." I called Moises that same night. "My love, there's someone who wants to meet you." "Maria?" "Yes, she's ready." "Maribel, I've waited for this moment for 5 years. You have no idea how happy you make me." The dinner introduction was the next day. Moises arrived with flowers for both of us and the most genuine smile I had seen in years. "Maria, your mother has talked so much about you. I feel like I already know you." "Mr. Moises, I'm so sorry you had to wait so long for this moment." "There's nothing to regret, my dear. What matters is that we're here now." During the whole dinner, I watched as Moises naturally included Maria in our conversations, how he respected my role as a mother, how he never tried to compete for my attention. It was the behavior of a self-assured man who didn't need to isolate the woman he loved. "Mom," Maria said at the end of the night, "now I understand the difference between real love and possession. Moises loves you so much that he wants you to be happy in all areas of your life. Sergio loved me so much that he wanted to be my only source of happiness." 6 months later, Maria had found a new job. She had made new friends and had started dating a man who encouraged her to talk to me every day. I had sold some of my properties, and Moises and I had decided to travel the world together. "Mom, there's something I want to tell you." We were having lunch at our favorite restaurant, a tradition we had resumed. "Tell me, my love." "I want to thank you for being strong enough to fight for me, even when I was against you." Maria. That's the difference between a mother and a manipulator. A mother fights for the well-being of her child, even when it's hard. A manipulator fights for control, no matter the cost. Do you know what I admire most about all this? What? That you never told me. You told me. You never made me feel stupid for falling into Sergio's manipulation. You just helped me get up. Because my goal was never to be right, my love. My goal was always to get you back. That night, while I had dinner with Moises in our apartment, he told me something I'll never forget. Maribel, what you did for Maria was extraordinary. Not many mothers would have the courage to risk their relationship with their daughter to save her from herself. Do you know what I learned from all of this, Moises? What? That true love sometimes requires being brave. It requires saying no when everyone expects you to say yes. It requires standing up for what's right, even if it makes you look like the villain. Do you regret anything? Only one thing. Taking so long to realize that I shouldn't apologize for loving intensely. For years, I thought my motherly love was too much. Now I know my motherly love was exactly what Maria needed to save herself. I don't regret driving 800 miles for a wedding I wasn't welcome at. I don't regret freezing $63,000. I don't regret fighting for my daughter when she couldn't fight for herself, because I learned that kindness should never be practiced at the cost of self-destruction, and that a mother who knows her worth raises children who know theirs.